Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have the spiciest list from the top 8 of the recent GP, a robots list looking very reminiscent of Affinity if you're used to Modern, or Shops if you're used to Vintage, but a bit of a player here in Legacy. It's been on the outskirts, and it's facing Reanimator, a deck almost as old as really as old as the game itself. We have Dark Ritual Thought Seizing himself, and then Animate Dead on Griselbrand, and right out of the gate drawing 7, so losing 8 to Reanimate, 7 to Griselbrand, 2 to Thoughtseize, and Rodney down to just 3 life right out of the gates here. Vault Skirge, Steel Overseer, whole bunch of cards that don't stack up favorably against a 7/7 lifelinker. See some unmasks going as well. I'm grabbing Lotus Petal. And Thoughtseize again, going down to just 1. So Walking Ballista isn't out here. Just ripping Ballista off the top would end the game here. Ancient Tomb into Ballista. GG. Can it happen? No, just Steel Overseer. Mystery card in hand. And the life gain begins. And Collective Brutality gonna take out that Steel Overseer. Chalice of the Void gone now. Vault Skirge is at least a chump blocker here, and going to gain a little bit of life, so effectively netting 2 turns. But if Rodney just pumps the brakes a little bit here, there'll be no possibility of getting out, but no pumping of brakes at all. Hanging out at 3 life here. And Animate Dead on Grave Titan. And that will almost certainly do it right there. Two tokens and the Titan. Plenty of blockers here for the factory. Wouldn't be lethal anyways. And gonna stand it up and swing. And it does draw a block. And that'll do it. Looks like the last card was actually Walking Ballista. If Rodney had taken the damage there, it actually would have been lethal. So that is a long shot. Only possible way to win, though. Might be 1 in 100, might be 1 in a million, but better than 0. Sometimes people get psyched out and play around things that are not actually threats. Does not look like Rodney was really thinking about Walking Ballista that game, though, because he definitely put himself in range unnecessarily. Very commanding lead with that turn 1 Griselbrand. Perhaps played a little too aggressively. Looks like Snaring Bridges coming in, Spellskites coming in to protect the bridges. Nice thing about bridge in this context is really not going to need to go hellbent to stop an incoming army. Having a normal size hand will prevent just about everything in Rodney's deck from attacking. At least in his main deck. Grave Titan, I think, a pretty reasonable addition to Reanimator list that we've been seeing as of late. The ability to Dark Ritual it out makes it a hard castable threat. Of course, it's a very solid reanimation target as well. It goes very wide, creating a whole bunch of zombies. And then at the end of the day, it's not legendary, so it cannot be bounced with Karakas, which is a very good sideboard card right now. Or, of course, main deck card if you can support it. versus Reanimator. So many of the best creatures do happen to be legendary. Gristlebrand, Elish Norn, Iona, Tidespout Tyrant, and Grave Titan, two of the strongest non-legendary options. Sire of Insanity, also an interesting card. Looks like this has just about everything you could hope for. Ensnaring Bridge, Ballista, Caracas, which is potentially huge, especially after how that first game went. Gonna get out Chalice at 1 here. An excellent opening. That's gonna shut off the Reanimates, Dark Rituals, Thoughtseize, Entomb. So much of Rodney's deck. We got a double fetch. That's grabbing 2 swamps. And Pack Rat. So luckily, Ballista in hand is going to be able to take out that Pack Rat, but Pack Rat's a very interesting swerve. Seems like an excellent sideboard option at this point, being both a discard outlet for your main strategy and also completely sidestepping the typical plan. Probably not at its best versus decks that can contest it on board, but slower control decks may have a very difficult time dealing with an ever-growing army of rats. Ensnaring Bridge down, Chalice, and Thorn. Another Ensnaring Bridge. Gonna need a couple of Abrupt Decays over there from Rodney in order to have any chance. And Spellskite's gonna soak up one of them at some point, so essentially needing 3 Abrupt Decays to ever be able to attack. This game is in a terrible way for him right now. And with 2 cards in hand, able to push through 3 damage. And City of Traitors coming down. Now pumping the Walking Ballista. And 4 damage at a time. We got a 3-turn clock. Rodney going to need 3 perfect top decks. Just really to be able to ever swing. So before that, he's going to need to find a way to get some type of blocker into play. That's not legendary. Animate on that Gristlebrand. Caracas will be able to just bounce that. No real chance of me forgetting about Caracas. Cannot cast that Lotus Petal. Does not have the mana open. He would need to fetch first in order to do it. And that would put him in range of the Ballista, not even getting out of that turn alive. That ties it up 1 game apiece. Going into game 3 here. This time, however, Reanimator on the play, a very different animal. That game, so much better having a turn 1 Chalice at 1. Really shuts off a ton of the possibilities over there from Rodney. So Rodney's going to be on the play, looking for a quick creature. Now the Caracas is just a singleton, just a one of, so he does not have to be particularly worried about legendary creatures. It's something to be mindful of, but nowhere near the level that it is versus decks like Death and Taxes, or even the Goblin lists that run multiple Caracases on occasion. And a Leyline of the Void ×2 to get the ball rolling. That ball is going to be rolling uphill, because Leyline's going to stop any type of graveyard strategy here. Now, one of the things about Reanimator against Leyline that you can sometimes get caught off guard with is they can make you discard your own creatures and then bring them back. But not a lot of creatures in this deck are really worthwhile for that. Kind of unusual. I know Rodney earlier in the tournament had a turn 1 unmask, saw his opponent was on goblins, and he was able to get Krenko into the bin and just reanimate that. Is actually better than what he had planned on doing anyways. Thorn of Amethyst coming down here. And Thoughtseize is going to take, presumably, the Arcbound Ravager. I think Phyrexian Metamorph might be the better call here because it's going to be able to double up on the sphere effect. This does at least buy more time. It's a decision. Let me know in the comments what you would take. Would you try and prevent that second Thorn effect from happening with Phyrexian Metamorph copying Thorn of Amethyst? Or would you just try and slow the clock as much as possible, giving yourself time to draw into better cards? Paying 2 life here. And there's a pack rat. And off the top of the deck, Walking Ballista. Ballista coming in with 3 counters, taking out pack rat, and that is a brutal, brutal top deck. Pack rat absolutely could have stolen this game. And Collective Brutality would cost 3 mana, so that's not going to be able to be, or 4 mana actually, thanks to the double Thorn. So does Rodney have another land drop? If not, that pack rat wouldn't have been that threatening anyways. Wasteland, swinging for 2. And this is a terrible spot now. Actually going to pump that up to 3. Paying 4 life for a +1/+1 counter. I think this is like there's a card that does that. One of the either Tempest or Mirage block, some type of freaking soul or something. Pay 4 Soul Drinker, I think it is. But totally worth it here with Walking Ballista, seeing as how you can cash those counters out to wrap the game up even faster. And more Walking Ballistas joining in. 4 damage worth of pinging could happen at any time. So it's just a 2-turn clock. Down to 8 and just 1 more swing here. Rodney not finding enough mana. And just too much. And Caracas at the end just for daggers. There it is, 4 damage. And Robots takes down game 2 and 3 versus Reanimator. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.